You are going to die someday. We all are. And as harsh as that sounds, I say it because facing the reality is one of the first steps towards understanding grief and how deeply it affects our lives. When we acknowledge our mortality, we allow ourselves to confront one of the most powerful human experiences, grief. Not just grief for those we lose, but grief for life's hardships, changes, and endings. And lately, we've all felt it. The past few weeks have been heavy. And there's this lingering grief and emotional weight that many of us are carrying. And it's more than just a personal loss, it's collective. And it feels very overwhelming. So let's talk about grief. Grief is often seen as something that follows the loss of a loved one, but it's so much more than that. It's an emotional response to change, to loss, to something ending, whether it's a relationship, a job, a way of life, or even just the way we saw the world. Grief isn't just one single emotion, it's layered and it's multifaceted. You might feel anger or sadness or relief and then feel guilty about that relief. And sometimes it's confusion or numbness. And sometimes we experience all those emotions in one day or even 1 hour, or like recently, minute by minute. I've worked with many people in grief, and something that I've noticed is that it's not just a single experience. It's a journey with 1,000 little waves, some big, some small, and each one different than the last. Think about this. Every time we experience a change, we're asked to leave something behind. And with that comes a kind of grief. When people are thrown off their balance or out of their comfort zone, it's a sense of loss. It's a piece of familiar that's now gone. And that's grief too. It's a little less clear, but it's still just as impactful. We might grieve dreams that we didn't fulfill, the person we used to be, or even places that we called home. And right now, with the world feeling more divided and uncertain, a lot of people are grieving that sense of stability and that comfort that we once knew. This kind of grief often goes unspoken, and yet it affects every part of our lives, mental, emotional, and yes, even spiritual. So, what do we do? Well, the first step is to recognize that our grief is there and to hold compassion for ourselves through it. Grief isn't something that you just don't get over. It's something to be felt and processed and acknowledged. And I know this is hard to do alone. This is where guidance and community comes in. We don't always know how to grieve and we don't always have the space for it. And that's why I'm here to be a part of the supportive role. As a death doula, my role isn't just about those nearing the end of life. It's for anyone dealing with the weight of life's endings, changes, and the grief that follows. When I work with people, we talk about ways to make space for the grief, whether it's through conversations or rituals or building supportive networks. It's only by together that we can heal these places and we can create these safe spaces for grief, allowing you to lean into the feelings rather than push them away. When we approach grief in this holistic way, we take account of our emotional, physical, and yes, even spiritual aspects. It's funny, people often think that death doulas only come in during end of life moments, but truly, my work is all transitions, all endings, and all kinds of different loss that the life that we live presents us with. My role is to help you honor that grief and to help you create a path forward that feels authentic and supportive. So, if you, like many others, have been feeling the weight of these past weeks, or even the accumulated weight of many losses or changes, know that you don't have to do this alone. I'm here to help, to be part of the support network that you might have, whether it's through a consultation or a group session or just a conversation. There's a path forward, and I'd love to support you in it. Just as a side note, I am not a licensed therapist. I am a holistic death doula, and I am one part of many different gears here to help support the community. So, grief is a part of life. And while it's not something that we can avoid, it's also something that we don't have to fear. Together, we can create a safe and compassionate space for it, allowing for everyone to grow and heal through the experience. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here with you, for showing up to face the hard truths, and for being open to the help that's here, because we need community more so now than ever. So if you want to take this journey together, book a call and reach out whenever you're ready. And remember, you're not alone. So be good to yourself, okay? Bye.